Wow. Wow. There's a bit of breaking news tonight. Regarding, I'm going to go on to the Rocky one. That was the picture taken in Portugal at Faro. That was a video I took, the shot off the video that I took. And it was the last that we'll see Rocky in a Celtic top. It's a shame because I think he's a good player, but Martin O'Neill telling him he should maybe look for another club because he's going to be down in 5th place behind the likes of Dane Murray and Liam Scales and Austin Trusty and Cameron Carter-Vickers. Before we talk about big, I think that we need to talk about Callum Osmond. There's a bit of breaking news tonight that Callum Osmond wants to have a sit-down conversation with Martin O'Neill. He says, according to this report, he says that he's spoken to Sean Maloney and Fozzie about general stuff. I want to sit down with Martin O'Neill and talk over my future at the club. What is going on at Celtic? The young striker says that he's spoken to Maloney, he's spoken to Fozzie about general stuff. I want to sit down with the manager and go through that side as well. What exactly does he think he should be playing first choice striker? Because I tell you one thing, in Faro he was lively, but I don't think he's first choice striker material. I'm going to be honest. He's maybe a good backup, and at his young age, should you really be demanding a place? I know that every player does it, but bringing in the likes of Camilo Duran, what gives young Callum Osmond the right to go, wait a minute here, boss, what's the story? What is the story? Am I going to be third choice? Am I going to be second choice? Am I going to be not getting much game time at all? Wow. I thought a lot more of Callum Osmond than that, but he obviously believed the shite that Brendan Rodgers told him. It's unbelievable that this breaking news tonight about Callum Osmond. He said, hopefully he will show faith that he did last season. He obviously showed a lot of faith in me, the coaching staff. He says that hopefully it was the start of something big. But I still want to sit down and have a talk with the manager to get a clearer picture of where I stand in the attacking order. Wow. That's unbelievable. And then today we find out what happened. If you remember, when Celtic went over to Ireland, Michael Nicholson, Chris Mackay, and I still had the picture up until yesterday as well. I took it down this morning. Martin O'Neill. Martin O'Neill went to an AGM of the Irish Supporters Association. Michael Nicholson took questions and he said he advised that easy signings are the players who are out of contract and are being worked on immediately. Wow. You think that if those are the easy ones, you would get them in the door. Remember, this was a couple of weeks ago now. This was a week past. Yeah, it was about a week past Monday or something, wasn't it? He says that there was no real hint of any active engagement with potential players. Well, we know that there had been, because Michael Nicholson's not going to come out and tell people at an AGM that, yeah, we're going to sign a guy tomorrow, but you can't tell anyone. We'll be all over the media. Martin O'Neill proceeded to confirm that he has put to the board that we are in need of major signings, as the current squad, despite their heroics last season, are not strong enough. Martin O'Neill knows the squad isn't strong enough. Do I have the picture of Martin O'Neill from that one. No, that's wrong. I do have a video of Martin O'Neill standing after the game, being totally bemused at the state of the football club. When you look at the fact that we go into a game and if it looks like that this Rocky deal is going to go through, it is a Polish reporter that has reported it, and I'll show you that on Twitter. Polish reporter reporting tonight that it's obviously translated from Polish into English. Rocky of Glasgow Celtic, close to RC Lens, the centre back, is already in France and undergoing his medical test. Boom. If nothing happens last minute, he will join. Player that's already joined. Another one, yeah, somebody says they'd be so signing, changing the Celtic song to Another One Bites the Dust. It's early days. It's not early days. It's July the 16th. We start our first game. Now, if Rocky leaves the squad, that leaves us with Austin Trusty, Liam Scales, Dane Murray and Cameron Carter-Vickers in the defence. That's not an improvement at all. I mean, apart from Austin Trusty, that's Ange Postecoglou's team. We're now 3 years after Ange Postecoglou left. We have become stagnant at the club. We have completely become stagnant at the club. And players brought in so far by Aberdeen 11, Dundee United 9, Falkirk Hearts 8, St Johnstone Rangers 7, St Mirren 6, Dundee 5, Hibs 4, Motherwell 5. We let Nacho's contract run out to save money and offer him less wages, and it backfires. Yeah. Well, it's coming through okay. It's maybe your chance. Let me just double check this, but it's all coming through fine on this end. So you maybe want to come out of YouTube and go back in, but it is all fine coming through the monitors. Backfires, yeah. So there we go. Right, let's jump into some of the comments section. Let me just do this, double check it. Backfires, yeah. Let's jump into some of the comments and see what you're saying tonight. Absolutely no team has any issues dealing with agents or failing due to the Premiership in England or the Championship in England. We are not fishing in the same pond as them, for fuck's sake. I think that we are, and absolutely no team. We are looking for players that can compete at the highest level, and I think that until Celtic really get their finger out, we are. What's going on with this microphone tonight? I'm just jumping into this. We're going to bring back Carl Starfelt. Let's hope that we don't bring back Carl Starfelt. There we go. Is that any better? Still going to show me this because I need to go into this to click the live. Starfelt. There we go. That's better. Easy. Right. Let's turn that system audio down. No, it's not all going. Jesus. Tell you, I've been away for a few days and it all goes to pot. And so anyway, tell me what you think in the comments section. Surely Martin would have told the club before he signed an extension where we needed to strength. How many players, poor practice, Dave Morton's. Just a little bit peed off this evening. I think there's a lot of Celtic fans that are a little bit peed off. Tell me what you think in the comments section. There we go, back to normal. Don't know what happened with that. 10 minutes gone. Michael Nicholson, simply a retard who should be nowhere near at our club. We have no players left at this rate. No, we won't have players left at this rate. When you go on to the website, if we do lose Rocky, do we promote the younger team to the squad? I mean, we are sitting with nine players to fill 4 positions. He is a bit surplus to requirements, but we still need backup for Kieran Tierney. Now, it's been alleged that Marcelo Sarachi has not heard anything from Celtic. I don't think that one's going to happen. I think if we were going to get Marcelo Sarachi deal done, it would have been easy to do. When you look at the midfield scenario, Benji Negrin still to return for the World Cup. Luke McCown, backup is best. I don't want to be too harsh on Luke. I think he's a fantastic young lad who really, really tries to play better than... He knows he can play better. Let's just say that. Oxlade-Chamberlain. I'm not impressed with Oxlade-Chamberlain, I'm going to be honest. I didn't think that we would go for him. I think that we've re-signed Oxlade-Chamberlain as purely in case Callum McGregor leaves. If Callum McGregor leaves, I don't think he will. Let's talk about him going to Angie's team. He cannot go to Brendan Rodgers' team because Brendan Rodgers' team has filled their allocation of external player. Rio Hatate wants away. Paulo Bernardo's been told that he could leave, and Arne Engels wants to leave. It's going to leave us with, as long as a bid doesn't come in for Benji Negrin, we could be left with Oxlade-Chamberlain. There is a potential that we could lose 4 midfield players out of these players that are mentioned. It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. Ox legs have gone. Yeah, I don't think that he's... I think Martin O'Neill's a yes man for Dermot Desmond. Yes. You can't argue against it. Don't know. Something's definitely going on, you can tell and feel it. Also imagine going around tonight of Marcelo speaking to Celtic fan page. He would love to be back, but the reality is Celtic haven't spoken to him in 3 weeks, says Michelle. He's had no offer. I don't think that nothing has changed at the club. And I don't know what to say. I don't know how to motivate you as fans. It's not really my job to motivate, but you seriously think we're going to win the league next year, Baz, says Stephen. As it stands right now, no. Well, if it's too early. It's too early. Let's get the season started. You can never say that you're going to win the league 2 weeks before the start of the season. Let's get to the end of the transfer window and then have that conversation, Stephen. Right now, I believe that we'll win the league, yes. But let's get to the end of the transfer window and have the conversation again. Because I think that the players that are there, we should still be able to do it. But then again, we did it last season, but we do need an upgrade in players, and Martin O'Neill has confirmed that... oh no, I don't want that. I wondered what happened there. Poor Everton. As it stands, we are winning nothing. Oh, I'm watching the 1966. Jesus. I've been watching since 1966, and I've never known us to be in a bigger shambles. Amateur hour. I don't know what to say about Celtic this evening. I think the fact that Rocky has been allowed to leave the club and nonsense about Greg Taylor. Greg Taylor has opened the door for a return to Celtic. I would never say no to anything, says Greg Taylor. We are not buying Greg Taylor for a second time. We are not buying Greg Taylor for a second time. If we cannot, if Greg Taylor's leaving for free and he wants to come back for free, then maybe. But there's no way are Celtic shelling out for Greg Taylor. My question is, Michelle, was why would they share it in the first place? Why would they share it in the first place? That's the thing. Our manager doesn't know how many players we need. I think he does, Stephen. I think that everyone knows how many players we need. The fact that Balak Wisher is now going to be playing as a midfield player, this is where we are. We're going to need a couple of wingers in because we're going to be using James Forrest. Dijsselmeyer is going to leave. Looks like Johnny Kenny will leave. Tenecti's not up to it. Balak Wisher is going to be playing in midfield in replacement for Arnie Engels. Duthering Dermot Desmond says he will bet 50,000 Sefco to £1 that Celtic win the league. Yeah. We are Celtic. We bring in people as a hobby. Yeah, we do that. I would take Taylor back. He's not great, but he's adequate. He's adequate. He didn't want to stay at Celtic. Why? Why would you bring him back? He didn't want his... He didn't... Paul Baird. That's the one to get Paul Baird right. Paul, I'm with you. I am with you. Martin told the presser he's not sure how many players he needs. Well, if he doesn't, we're in trouble. If that was Martin's exact words, he's told the presser that he's not sure how many players we need. Is that because... Look at all the players that left. We're going into a season with a squad that is... Odom Ohm has been loaned out until 2020... Shinya Mata. Oh, wow. Odom Ohm has been updated on the Celtic site. Shock, horror this evening. Move me over there. Yeah, look at it there. Odom Ohm has been loaned out until the end of December 2026. You would just sell that boy, wouldn't you? You would just get rid of him. I mean, he's been out on loan. Who was it that brought him in? Was it Ange Postecoglou that brought him? No, it was Brendan when he brought in Rocky and everybody. I can't even remember now. It was that long ago. Shinya Mata is gone also, out on loan. So that Celtic got rid of 2 players already just for the loan system. James Forrest is here for... We are putting a stick in plaster. I said that this would be the worry. And it looks like going into this campaign, there is a real worry that getting Martin O'Neill back, whilst we all loved it and everyone said Martin should get the job, we have allowed the board a stick and plaster over the club. And this is going to be one of those seasons. Looks like some fans have no ambition back, want to take Taylor back. How's that improving? Yeah, James, I'm with you with that one. Taylor, lol, come on folks, let's be serious. The club is a complete shambles. The fans are flapping it up, buying season tickets year after year, can't lose your seat. We're completely this is worse than 90. It's big rab, that's over the top, sorry, mate. It's not as... This is not worse than 1994. 1994, we had financial constraints playing against us. We had the bank and the Murray friendship with the bank putting pressure on Celtic to repay the $5 million loan. There was no need for Celtic to pay the $5 million loan, but they thought putting the pressure on Celtic put them under the financial pressure to pull in that loan would end the club, and it didn't work. We, on the other hand, had the opportunity to make sure that they didn't come back, and we allowed them to come back. Think about that. But anyway, jump through this. Johnny Kenny will be sold soon. Yeah, I think so. At least Taylor will fit in quick. If Taylor comes back to Celtic, Paul Baird can have the channel for a month. How many have left now? Add those to one away. We've only signed the Ox and Duran. Absolute farce it is that. What's this I'm getting sent? Alright. Don't. I'll watch that later. Thank you. Right, anyway. I just come on to just cheer you up. I would take you, Baz, if you mate, I could probably last about 20 minutes. So yeah, I think we would all jump. Middlesbrough are probably the humpers, or not. Middlesbrough are going to absolutely hammer us. That's why our board won't spend big, because 94 they're scared of bankruptcy. Yeah, this is. I don't think they're scared any chance of us going bankrupt. There's no chance of that happening. 94 we got away out because the money the club has, there isn't a chance of getting change. Yeah, Rabbit, I get you with that, but it's not as bad as 94. I think it's probably worse than, well, maybe it is worse than 94, because at least in 94 we had Fergus McCann to come in the door. What seems to be happening just now with the club is Martin O'Neill gives gives a list of players that he wants, and Michael Nicholson is just terrible at concluding deals. Joseph says, hi Baz, Taylor went for nothing. He could have went sooner, given Celtic no money. Greg Taylor was valued at around about £8 or £9 million at one point by Celtic. I wouldn't have allowed them to go for nothing. When you think about it, we allowed another midfielder, a Scottish midfielder, that we bought from Motherwell. We sold him for $3 million with 6 months left on his contract. We allowed Greg Taylor to go for absolutely nothing. But anyway, 9,000 tickets sold for the Celtic fans. 9,000. Is that all that Celtic have sold? Good news, Elliot Watt's 4-match ban. Here's hoping Derek McInnes gets the same treatment. There will be more Middlesbrough fans than Celtic fans on Saturday. Yes. Basically, all friendlies don't count. They do. Because if you go back pre-seasons where Celtic have had fantastic pre-seasons and they've done well, and they've went on to... I think that the biggest worry is the inability of this club. From the outside, it looks like a complete shit show. The video of Martin O'Neill, I need to get that. Give me 2 seconds and I'll get the video up from the Portugal trip. Because there was an important part of that, of the end of the game. I mean, whilst there was a gentleman went absolutely mental at the end of the game, there was an important part for me watching Martin O'Neill at the end. I mean, you see... I'll put this down. And this is the last time that the big number 17 was seen in any kind of action. Let me just do this. Over this side. I'm going to skip forward. There's big Rocky. Last time he was ever seen in a Celtic strip. Speaking to Fozzie, that was the final water break. Big Sinisalo. And there was this bit. Now this was the end of the game. Where is it? Where's Martin O'Neill? It's disappeared at this point. Because as it gets to the end, Martin O'Neill, he fucked off up the tunnel, didn't he? Way up the tunnel, didn't come out to speak to anybody. Colby Donovan to get down the tunnel. I'll put up the video. I've got a short video I'll put up, and it's Martin O'Neill standing. It was Martin O'Neill standing at the end of the game and just looking onto the pitch. I mean, Martin O'Neill must have just went straight up the tunnel at the end of that game. Someone asked about who was shouting out, who was giving the tactic orders at the game, Baz, Martin or the coaches. A bit of both. But Sean Maloney towards the end of the... I know what you're getting at, mate, and a lot of people are saying that Martin's not the manager. And I know where you're going with that question, because a lot of people are saying it's Sean Maloney that's running the show. It's Sean Maloney that's really the manager. Martin O'Neill's just there to answer the press. I don't think it is. Martin O'Neill was given... He had a conversation with Cameron Carter-Vickers during one of the water breaks. There's Rio Hatate, who sat away. Rio Hatate sat with no one. And there was Martin O'Neill. That was the first water break, I think. That was Martin O'Neill talking to Callum Osmond, and then the other one he was the water break in the second half. He was talking to Cameron Carter-Vickers. So I know what you're getting at, but I don't think it is Maloney that is the manager. He's just doing... It's the same as what John Kennedy did at Celtic. John Kennedy took all the training sessions. Ange Postecoglou, Brendan Rodgers, they didn't arrange any of the training sessions. Martin O'Neill didn't arrange any of the training sessions. I think Martin was way up the tunnel by that time, mate. Martin had gone up the tunnel by that time. Because I think this is the point where... Let me just turn that shot and see if I... I mean, there's the guy... They're not... No, they're all way up. There was Martin at the end of the game. So there he's standing there. Martin, the end of the game, and he just kept on looking onto the pitch. Didn't speak to anybody. Didn't speak to the players. Just looked out onto the... He was looking at the sporting team. He was looking at the team that we just played. And he was looking... He was maybe wondering, is there any players that we can get? At that point. Yeah, he's not speaking to anyone. He's not... saying it's fine, it's just a friendly. He's still just standing there. and then I cut to Arnie Engels, and it must have been at that point that Martin buggers off up the tunnel. Give me a penny for your thoughts, Arnie Engels, who is he was taken off as a substitute, and he wasn't engaged. It was very weird after. And then there's the guy that's having a fucking go. So I think it was just before then. I mean, you see this, one of the young boys turning around saying, "Who's shouting?" And then he's had enough fame. But anyway, I don't think that Martin O'Neill is entirely happy with the way that the squad is. I don't think that he's happy with the standard of the player. I think he's looking at that sporting team being very envious of the players that they have, the physicality, everything about it. I'd signed a number 19. Yeah, he was some player, wasn't he? He was some player. Did the guy that was shouting expect from, was he from Scotland or is he an expat? He was Scottish, mate. I don't think he was an expat. And you get. I mean, you can.
Hold your head up, son. Thank you for your. He's a fucking embarrassing him.
He's a fucking embarrassing him.
It's a friendly.
And then you hear a woman. I mean, the look on those two, their face. I mean, they were Irish. It was all Irish that were sitting there, and it was uncalled for a friendly. Completely uncalled for a friendly. But anyway, we truly have not been in such a mess for decades. The board have made us the laughing stock. Yeah, they have that. Paul Baird, he'll have a nervous breakdown if Greg Taylor comes back. Is that? I would sign a lot of their players. Yeah, I would sign a lot of their players as well. They're getting into the later stages of the Champions League. You need to remember that. You know, they're a team that know that they're going to get to that level. Anything?
Yeah.
What?
Don't know.
Oh, go and change. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, no. That's because I was getting ready to go live. Right, that's me done and dusted. In fact, give me 2 seconds and I'll do it now whilst I'm live on this. So that give me 2 seconds. Chat amongst yourself is I just need to do something quickly for work. Change YouTube Studio. It'll be interesting to hear what Martin O'Neill speaking to the guys due to come back from World Cup duties like Benji, etc. Yeah, I think that will be one of the biggest telling points of. I mean, even getting some of the players back that are back at Celtic already. There we go. Right, that's that changed. Cheers. Yeah, it will be interesting to see. That was the Sporting B team. Yeah, this is the point. They had some fantastic players coming through their system. O'Neill can't be happy with this pish, Baz, unless he's lost his backbone. I go back to that video where he was in Portugal, mate, and he's just standing there and he's looking at some of these players that are playing for Portugal, and you're thinking, I'd love to have them. Don't know. It was it's an eye opener when you sit that close to the dugout. The body language coming from them is so negative. Can you blame Engels? His class act. It's had to carry our midfield for 2 years. I wouldn't say that he's carried the midfield, considering that Benji Negrin scored 20 odd goals last season. Don't know. He's too tan to be living in Scotland. No chance, mate. I was standing with an Irish guy, and he had a tan and a half, and I'm like, the fuck you so tans, mate? But Rio should not have left. Should not have been left on the sidelines at a friendly. I agree with him. But if Rio is one of the players that has an offer, here's the situation, Michelle. From the manager's point of view, if the manager's been speaking, we said this morning, if the manager's been speaking about attitude, now he sat next to the staff. He never sat next to any of the players, never communicated with any of the players. It looks like that he's had a falling out with Martin O'Neill at the end of last season. We saw the way that he conducted himself at the league celebrations. We saw the way that he didn't take part in the league and the Scottish Cup celebrations. He just stood to the side and just wasn't interested. He's taken himself away from the team purposely. And Martin O'Neill has then said, well, that's your attitude, mate, it's stinking. No player's bigger than the club. And Rio Hatate is going down the road of the Grand Prix Greek. And I think there's only one winner. Fans were crying. Let's remind ourselves back. See to everyone. And Michelle, I'll call you out on this as well, because during watch-alongs at the beginning of last season, the amount of people that were on the watch-alongs saying at half-time, get Rio Hatate off the pitch. Now that we've got a manager that's got a bit of balls and said, no, if that's your attitude, Rio, you're not getting a game. People are like, that's fucking ridiculous the way you're treating Rio Hatate. You've got to remember, 90% of the channel during live watch-alongs wanted Rio Hatate off at half-time. How did he even manage to get to half-time, people would say? His attitude was terrible. His attitude's been stinking for a while. Don't know. That performance was uncalled for a friendly. Still angry we're playing the same crap as last season. Yes, fan 1967 tick. For the fact that Martin O'Neill said during the run-in, he said, I want to get to a pre-season. I want to have a good pre-season. I want to implement my own stuff. It's not happened, has it? Even Martin O'Neill saying at the end of the Portugal tour, we've not managed to implement tactical changes for the team next season. We kick off. We all know when we kick off. It's now 1 day, 19 hours and 52 minutes for the Middlesbrough game. And then we head to Celtic Park for the first game of the season. And I'm not being funny, but I think that Martin O'Neill said something, and I think Martin O'Neill is losing the confidence that he has, because when it came to the end of the Portugal tour, Martin O'Neill said to Celtic TV, he said, yeah, I love this weather wherever I am in December. Martin O'Neill knows that if he doesn't get the results, if we do bad in the Champions League, if we don't qualify for the Champions League, if we do bad in Europa, if we do bad in the league, fans will turn on Martin O'Neill. And I don't think that's fair. This is all on the board. And it will not hurt Martin O'Neill's legacy. A lot of people were saying if Martin O'Neill comes back to the club, if Martin O'Neill does terrible next season, will it hurt his legacy? I don't think it will, because it's not Martin O'Neill's fault that we have the boards that we have. And yes, it's hard to try and work with. Celtic seem to have a really bad reputation with agents. And the fact that Rockies came back from I mean, they would have landed at Celtic Park yesterday. Did Rocky even go back to Glasgow? Did he go back to Glasgow with the rest of the flight and then just he had the word with Martin O'Neill and Martin said, mate, you're going to be fifth choice. I don't want to chase you out the door, but if you want to leave, I'm not going to hold you back. He's jumped on the phone to his agent and went, get me a club. And then there's been a French team went, right, we'll take him. We'll take him. That's it. Deal done. Flies out straight away to get a medical. That's quick. We seem to be quick in allowing players to leave, but when it comes to dealing with agents and bringing players in, and it comes down to the one person again. It comes down to Nicholson. Now, there was the Not Another Penny campaign, there was the Celtic Fans Collective all wanting to get rid of Michael Nicholson and stuff. I think that we are in, I'll give the club until the end of the transfer window. I'll reserve judgment. Stephen says, do you really think that we're still going to win the league? Let's have that conversation on the 3rd of September. Because until then, you know, we are a couple of weeks out still from the start of the league. It's not been ideal. I want to swap the sporting team for owners. Yeah. I wonder when we'll see Martin's new style of play that he promised. Celtic brought in Chris Sutton 2000 for £6 million, which in today's market would be worth around 45 million in today's market. This is very true. You just made him look brunier. Sporting board, it's the sporting board we need to sign. Yes, it is. Rio shouldn't have been in Portugal, in my opinion. No, I don't think he should have. I don't think that if he is looking for another club and he has had a fallout with the manager, we need to move him on. I think that the reason that we haven't, and this is a very Celtic issue, could you imagine if we shipped out all the players that do not want to be at Celtic? Now, we're still looking for a goalkeeper. Now, let's look at the size of the squad if we shipped everyone out that didn't want to be at Celtic. Now, we've lost Rocky. He's in France this evening going through a medical. So good luck to him with his future. When you look at the midfield, Engels wants away. Rio Hatate wants away. Paulo Bernardo more than likely wants away. Callum McGregor can't make his mind up. That's 4 players from the midfield. If we were to get rid of all those players, you would be left with that game in Portugal with Luke McCowan and Oxlade-Chamberlain in the midfield and a load of young boys. We couldn't do that. The club couldn't do it. Whether we like it or not, I would say the 3 of those players leave. Callum's still here. I think Callum will stay, but you never know. When you look at the forwards, Michelangelo Balak-Wisha is playing in midfield. Yang is still on holidays. Callum Osmond wants to know where he is in the pecking order. Where am I if you bring back Iniacho? To be fair, if I was Callum Osmond and Celtic bring back Iniacho, I'd be asking the same question. Because I'd say that boy's slower than a week in the jail, mate. And he's getting a game before me. Come on. Seriously. Did you not see the last game of the season? When he's like, go son. How can I help you in a minute? And James Forrest overtakes fucking Iniacho. Johnny Kenny wants away. Dyson Maeda wants away. Sebastian Tenecti can go. We've got a threadbare squad. If Martin O'Neill doesn't know how many players, he knows that he cannot count on Jota. So we need 2 wingers. Minimum. Yang's not the answer for Champions League. No way. Michelangelo Balak-Wisha's getting pulled into midfield. Johnny Kenny, he may want away. You don't know. It's a funny old game Celtic are playing right now. Signing players isn't going to happen until one of our big three have been sold. Whoa, I'm not too sure about that. How's Forrest still in the squad? Jesus, he's the pensioner just now, says Mark. You should see the physicality change in James Forrest. He has he's slimmed down, he's trimmed down, and I think that he's just going for his pace this year. He's still got pace, James Forrest. He's not got the upper bulkiness that he had. He looks like a different player. James Forrest looks like about 5 years younger than what he did do. He's not got the size of the thighs that he had. Did I not put a video up on the channel today, a YouTube short with James Forrest? He's a completely changed man, and I think that James Forrest will run rings round for one last season. I still think that he'll run rings round most of the SPFL. Anyway, Martin knew what Mr. 35% how he runs Celtic. Martin knew nothing has changed from the early days, says John. Glaswegian Ian says that fans need to get off Rio's back. I was the one being slagged for supporting him. Tati chucked it when Kyogo left, unfortunately. Attitude is terrible, just like McCown, but plays McCown. Plays McCown in the position that McCown doesn't want to play. McCown knows he's got a bad game. Nah, I think the attitudes, when you've seen the reaction of Luke McCown when he comes off and he fires into the dugout and he's fucking he's going mental at himself. At himself, not at anybody else. Luke McCown's angry with himself for the bad performance that he had. I don't think it was a bad performance. I just think he's playing in the wrong position. He's never a winger. He should never be on on the wing of a front three. Say that with your teeth in, if you've got teeth that come out. Most Irish fans follow Liverpool. Yes, this is very true. I was talking to an Irish woman last night exactly about that thing, and she confirmed it. Could you name the starting 11 and 7 subs for Dundee? That's how the board are viewing it at the moment. Liverpool are hands. A joke from McGregor, McCown and Oxford Dundee game a few weeks ago. It still could happen. Yes, it could. No rush is a disgrace. Martin O'Neill knows the board sailed. As soon as the Clyde, yeah, they did that. For me, Hatate looks as if he's been a touch of autism. Jesus. 6 million back in the day. Today's market is between 45 and 60 million. And Celtic are nowhere near spending that kind of money. Any new jerseys out today? Don't know about new jerseys, but it's bound to be in a few days since Celtic have released anything. They need to release it soon. Why cut costs when we have no team? Truly sickening what our board and Dermot doing to our club. 5 centre backs for CCV, Trusty Scales, Murray and Rocky. Let them all go. Let them all go. This is true. We need a full team. McCown and Forrest are not good enough. I would say that Forrest has still got it for the SPFL. He may not be. I think he's still one of the better wingers that we have. Takes on players. When you look at the options that we've got, I'll disagree with you on this one, mate. Where is it? Mark. I would disagree with you because James Forrest as a forward is one of the better forward players that we have. Don't know, there's no disputing that. When you look at the players that can play on the wing, we have Yang, we've got Balak-Wisha and Tenekti. Now, James Forrest is hands, tails, fucking, he's head and shoulders. Might not be height-wise, but James Forrest is way better he's until Jota comes back, James Forrest is our best winger at the club. Dyson Maida's away, so I'm not including Dyson. But James Forrest, and it's a sad situation. Sad situation. And Brendan Rodgers said we're coming to the end of an era. And now I know what he meant. We're coming to the end of an era where, see, next season, when you don't have James Forrest, when you don't have Callum McGregor, when you don't have Luke McCowan, when you don't have Alistair Johnston, we're going to go through one of the biggest, it should have been this year. We as a club should be going through a gradual transition. We are going to go through one of the biggest transitions in the club's history next season, if you ask me, with a new manager that will want to come in and change everything. Forrest is Forrest, you blind. Osmond should start most games. Need to watch his hammy or not? I think so. Jota on the grass next week, yeah, but he's not going to be back until Halloween in November. Osmond's not on the same planet as Nacho Bads. Nacho's on the Ash Park in Nigeria with his pals. This is it. Anyway, right, I've done and dusted for tonight. Was that Chris? Is Chris in? Martin O'Neill doesn't know his squad because he doesn't know who's leaving. I think that we all know who's leaving, mate, and it's, you don't need to be a genius to work it out, because the players have pretty much said that they want away anyway. Right, that is me done and dusted for this evening. Apologies about the mic scenario at the start. It was coming through okay. Stephen Sloan says, if you had said to me 5 years ago, where did that go to? Let me just get this last comment in. If you had said to me 5 years ago that Forrest would be our best winger in 2026, I would have thought you were taking the piss. It's a sad situation that we're in, mate. It is the sad situation we're in. When you see James Forrest in the flesh this year, you'll be surprised at how thin his thighs have got. He looks as if he's going for speed. He's going for speed. But anyway, Jim Lister says, what are the board waiting for? I don't think it's the board. I think it's Michael Nicholson, the man that always lets Celtic down, has let Celtic down for years. I don't think there's anyone else at the club that is as bad as Nicholson. Nacho is a class striker. Osmond is only learning his trade. But when it goes for pace, though, surely. But anyway, Forrest will be our best winger in 2046. He will that. Right, that's me done and dusted. It's a sad situation, says Michelle, and it's getting more and more observed. It is that. I shall see you all in the morning. I'm sure there'll be plenty of Celtic news kicking about tomorrow because it's Friday. Will Celtic speak to the media? I doubt it. Will they speak to the media again ahead of the game this weekend against Middlesbrough? It is one day. Do you really need to be reminded? And how many of you are going to be watching the game, and how many of you are going to be saying, bugger that? It's one day, 19 hours and 36 minutes until Celtic play their first game at Celtic Park since we won the league. I shall see you all in the morning. Have an absolutely fantastic... You can't have a fantastic anything, because Celtic are a shambles. And then, on that note, I'll see you all in the morning. God bless.